host, Georgia Rose, and I'm in the soul space waiting for you guys to come on in. So I hope you're watching or listening. You can listen to me in the car on Spotify or any of those podcast things that you have, Apple Play. I'm all over. If you missed the show, you can always watch the replays on those things, and also on my YouTube site, Zencuda, or my website, zencuda.com. So welcome into the Soul Space. If this is the first time that you are joining us, we're here every Monday night at 7 o'clock on all my social media and also on Strong Island Television on YouTube and Facebook. And we talk about all kinds of things spiritual so that we can grow our souls and find our own soul space so that we're living from our authentic selves. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, stay tuned because we're going to talk about astrology tonight. I am a psychic astrologer, and we're all on the journey to finding our own soul space. We use things like astrology and healing modalities, and I'm going to be pulling some tarot cards in a little bit too. So welcome to the show. I'm going to start tonight with astrology. I just want to share the show because that's usually our first thing that we do on here. So if you're new or if you're not new, I would love it if you would actually share the show if you're so inclined, if you think that it will be valuable to somebody, and if you find our content meaningful. Okay, I'm just going to share it to the Zencuda site as well. You can find me, by the way, on Zencuda Soul Space on Facebook, Zencuda Official on Instagram, and on YouTube at Zencuda. So I'm always around in one way or the other. All right, so I would love to hear how all of you did with the eclipse that we had last Friday. It was one of the most powerful eclipses I've ever felt, and I have been studying astrology for a very long time. There was so many things happening with that eclipse. If you're really interested in what the energy is, it's still in play now. You can go on my YouTube site and watch last week's show. I actually usually try to condense the show so that you don't have to watch the whole show if you don't want to. You can just kind of get the astrology portion or other things. We also do affirmations on the show. The way our Zencuda affirmations work is I give you usually 4 affirmations a month, and they culminate with the energy of the month, both in play just energetically and astrologically, and also leading up to any new or full moons that we have. We have a new moon eclipse on the 29th this month, and you'll have your fourth affirmation next week, but this week we have the 3rd one. And if Carmine wants to put those affirmations on the screen, we'll start with those. The first week that we did, and as I said, I always try and collate the affirmations with the energy so that at the end of those 4 weeks you can use these as your prompts and as your rituals for the new moons. So the first one that we had was I have the power to create the life I want. The second one is I balance what I release what no longer serves me with gentleness and ease. And then this week, the affirmation that I picked, especially on the heels of the spring equinox, we're starting spring here where I am in the northeast of the United States, it's I embrace the flow of new energy coming towards me. Because I'm going to tell you, the energy is definitely changing and we've got new energy coming in. Thank you so much, Carmine. And I will put those affirmations on our social media so you guys can see them. So the spring equinox is the 20th of this week. Today is the 17th when we're broadcasting this, but this will go up on the YouTube site, so you'll have it, forever. This energy is still really intense. We still have the eclipse energy in play. We've also got the spring equinox on the 20th, like I said, but we have some planets moving around. So Mercury went retrograde right on the heels of the eclipse. And in this show, I'm going to talk a lot about that Mercury retrograde because it really is heightening energy for us. But I'm also going to talk a little bit about the Venus retrograde and what we can expect on the spring equinox, the way that you can use that energy of Aries when we go into the 0 degrees of Aries, which is a whole new energy shift for us. And then we'll pull some cards if we have time and see how that goes. How does that sound, everybody? So if you have any comments or anything that you want to talk about, you can put that right into our comment section. And throughout the show, we'll keep the phone number on the screen tonight. So if anybody wants to call in, they can do that as well. So we've got planets right now moving around a little bit, like I said. Okay, Venus is retrograde. Venus retrograde. Venus is the planet that it's not only the planet of love, but it's also the planet of our values and the things that we value and what's truly meaningful to us. So right now, everyone in the world is in a certain energy. And while some of us might not be aware of that energy, a lot of us who listen to the soul space and are a little bit more aware and awakened are feeling this. And that energy is an energy where the old things, the old values, the old things that we felt were meaningful at one time are dissolving. And we've been in this energy a long time. And if you're a regular watcher of the show, you know when we came into the energy in January, I talked a lot about 2025 being a pivotal year for change. And I know a lot of astrologers say that all the time, but this year is really a year for change. This year is a year where we're being set up for the rest of a very long time frame, like the next 20 years or so. So the decisions and the choices that we make now are really important because they're going to affect a long-term unfolding of energy for us. So wherever Pisces and Aries is in your chart, whatever house that is, that's really where a lot of this is taking place. For me, as I've said on previous shows, that's in my 3rd and 4th house. So it's all about communication for me and home within, my physical space, my physical home. Right now, the way that the planets are in the cosmos for everyone is Venus is retrograding back into Pisces. It was in Aries. So we felt a shift. We felt some new energy about a week ago. And now it's going to start to head towards Pisces, where it's going to give us one last time to revisit some of the Piscean values and meaningful things that we had for the last 14 years while Neptune was in that sign. Neptune is going to be in Aries as of the 30th of March. When Neptune goes from Pisces to Aries, that is going to be a game changer because Neptune is the planet of our hopes, our dreams, our wishes, our imagination, the things that we feel we, set our sights upon that are really meaningful to us in a very deeply connective, spiritual source way. In Pisces, that was very ethereal and very hard to pin down. And it was an energy where, we dreamed the impossible dream, but we never thought it was going to happen. Or when we went to do projects and we went to do something meaningful to take action in it, it didn't always pan out the way we wanted to. Pisces can also be an energy of overwhelm where things will flood into us. And sometimes when we have situations or environments that do that, it causes us to stay stuck in them. But now that that planet, Neptune, that governs all of that, is headed towards Aries, that's going to change the energy in our hopes, our dreams, our wishes, our imagination, the way we like to connect, the things that are meaningful to us, the things that we love to dream the impossible dream about. And so what's going to happen is now in Aries, Aries is all about a new emerging energy. Aries is powerful. It is independent. It is wanting to emerge and do things in a very new way. Aries can also be impulsive. Aries is the place in the zodiac where wherever Aries is in your chart, that's the place where your soul in this lifetime wants to create a new energy, a new perception, a new paradigm, a new way of being for you in the house it pertains to. For instance, for me, it's in my 4th house, which is finding home within. It's also our physical home. Aries is where we take up space in our life. So wherever that house of Aries is for you, now the sun is going to be going into Aries on March 20th when we have the spring equinox. In a short little while, Neptune is going to be going into Aries on March 30th. And Mercury has been in Aries for a couple of weeks, and now Mercury is also going back into Pisces because it just went retrograde on the heels of this eclipse. So just like Venus was in Aries and gave us some new energy and some new chutzpah, some new independence, some new motivation, and then we found ourselves going back a little bit and maybe being more stuck in emotion because Venus is now headed towards Pisces. The same thing is happening now with Mercury. So Mercury is in Aries, and we felt like refreshment. We felt a little fire in our belly. And now, as Mercury starts to head back towards Pisces, we're going to start to have some water thrown on that fire. And we're going to start to think about the past a little more. Those mercurial things. What's Mercury? Mercury is our minds. It's the way that we think about things, the way that we do the math, the way that we perceive our life, the way we get logical. right? So now, with everything that I just talked about, you see the pattern of we're moving forward, and then the planets go retrograde, Venus and Mercury, and go back. And so, with that energy there, and we still have Saturn in Pisces, what all this means in a nutshell is that the new values, the new things that are meaningful to us, the different way we want to do things. Maybe that's a different type of relationship and you're leaving a long-term relationship. Maybe that's a job that just doesn't cut it for you anymore. And when you go there, you're sitting in the parking lot because you don't really want to go in. You know, now you're going to have the motivation to do something about it. But it's really not time for us to have that action yet. Because what's happening is with Mercury headed back to Pisces and Venus headed back to Pisces, we're going to have another dose of that past energy, the emotion, the anxiety. We're going to have a little bit of a dose of the subconscious belief systems, the conditioning, the, oh, well, I was always taught this should be my religion. Oh, I was told that this should be my career. So I know there's a call coming in. I just want to finish this thought before we pick up. Now, when these planets start to go into retrograde in Pisces a little bit, you're going to start to have those past conditionings and those past belief systems come up and rear its ugly head again. Not so we can go back into what no longer works for us. We've already outgrown it. But those things will come back and repeat so that we can see exactly that we've outgrown it, that we can't go back there, that that's an impossibility, that it just isn't in alignment, it doesn't work for us anymore, and we're going to finally be forced to go into the Aryan energy, the Aries energy, where we want to take up space in a new place. We want to take up space in a new way. And we're also going to be very different in the choices we make about what we allow to take up space in our own lives. And so I'm going to give you a couple of those dates. Mercury is in retrograde until around April 7th or so, where it starts to go direct. Venus is in retrograde until April 13th, and then it will start to go direct. Neptune goes into Aries March 30th. Neptune will go retrograde and go back into Pisces so we can clean up whatever crumbs are left over. That happens a little later in the year. So we're not out of this old paradigm shift energy. We're not out of the old conditioning yet. But it's coming, and that's what 2025 is about. We're being set up for the growth cycle where we're really in maturity. And right now we're growing. We have growing pains. We're leaving behind the things that we don't want to allow to take up space any longer in our lives. And we're also going towards the places where we want to take up space. That's what Aries energy is all about. And there are some very powerful conjunctions that happen in Aries this year. That 0 degree of Aries, which is a huge turning point for all of us, is very, very amplified. This is a very pivotal rebirth, reorganization, reconfiguration, recalibration, transformative time for everyone on the planet. What you choose to do with this is up to you. But there is a reason why your soul was born to experience this time in our world. So just remember that when you're making your choices. It's very important time for us to spend time in solitude, to spend time in quiet, and make sure that we're really listening to that soul space and that we're making choices from that. Because the things that we've outgrown, if we try and stay with them, it might not be gentle the way the universe pushes us forward. So we want to take control of our lives the way that we can. So do I still have a call, Carmine? Okay, I'm going to take this call and then I'm going to answer everybody's comments. Hello, you're on the Soul Space with Georgia Rose.
Hi, Georgia?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Hi,
you.
Pauline.
And who am I talking to?
Pauline
Hi.
from Queens.
Hi, Pauline. How are you?
Are you? You know what? I remember since you had a guest about the Schumann residence, I figured I would bring it up. Did you hear
Yes.
about 60
Yes.
hours? That was interesting because people have been talking about 3 days of darkness. Maybe that's what they were talking about.
Yeah, I think that the energy on the planet is definitely changing. I think that what happened with the Schumann resonance, for everybody listening, that's the vibration of the world. That was Phoenix Green that I had on. I'm going to have Phoenix on again. I just had a message from him recently that he wants to come back on. I want to have him on. The vibration of the universe is so incredibly intense right now. And, you know, I do watch the news, not a lot. I'm not a news junkie anymore. I used to be. I also watch the financial markets because, you know, I am in real estate and I need to know and be financially literate and need to know what's going on in the globe. But I don't watch it anymore. when I watch it now, the energy seems like it's just not real to me. It's so
Hmm.
heightened. So, I'll listen for 5 minutes if I just to get the little thing. But the other thing is, I think also regarding the Schumann resonance, which is the measurement of the vibration of the earth. I remember 9/11 and other, fatality, catastrophe kind of tragedies that happened in the world. And the Schumann resonance always goes higher because of the amount of compassion in the world. And I feel like a lot of people are in fear right now. And this is a very big lesson for us to stay out of the fear because that will permeate. And when we're in a transition period like we are now, where transformation is really coming in very heightened waves for us, we really don't want to be in fear, Pauline, because that's
It's not
going,
just the fear; it's the hatred that's going on.
well,
The
that too.
people
And
are
I'm not
so
even,
separating. It's not. It
yeah.
might be. It
And
could be
I,
interpreted as fear
yes,
because they're hating everybody and they're projecting their
yes.
judgments on every person they can blame outside of themselves instead of looking inside and saying, "What is my responsibility?"
Right.
Don't go blaming
And so
everybody in
let's
the
lower
government
the
because we
energy.
chose them.
Right. And so let's lower the energy on that because
Yeah,
it
I know. I'm
we
really
have to
mad
get
over
into
it.
compassion. One of the hardest
Yeah,
lessons that we're going to learn is to have compassion for the compassionless, right? But we
right.
can't be aggressive in this energy because every ounce of energy in our bodies, in our soul, in our minds needs to be used to propel our lives forward in the place we want to be. And I know that may sound a little bit selfish. And believe me, I still put love in the world. I still am very charitable. I work with a lot of charity organizations and I work with cancer
But what
patients.
really gets me is when the spiritual people are supposed to know better. And I know I actually just, you just showed me where I'm getting all
Right.
emotional
And
about
don't
it. And
allow it
so
in
I catch
because
myself. I thank
because
you for catching
everything
me.
that we do
I
ripples
needed to
out.
hear that.
So we don't
Yep.
allow that in. And
Right.
whenever I see someone ranting or someone getting a little bit bothered and I know they're in doing spiritual work, I just kind of put love there and I move on. And that's why I suggest staying out of the scrolling. The scrolling is the worst right now, and especially because
Hmm.
a lot of people are in fear and anger and they don't know what's true. And that's all this energy at the last degrees of Pisces because Neptune is very much an energy that's an illusion. It is, when Neptune energy is very heightened, we can find ourselves saying things that aren't true and not even, meaning them, and vice versa. And we can be
I'm
misled.
finding a lot of things that have been said in the spiritual community seems to be coming from AI. There's not even real
Of
people
course.
behind those the
Well,
messages,
because
and
AI
I'm
is
shocked.
programmed. And remember, AI is compassionless.
Yeah, they have
So,
no
and that's what
feelings
we
at
have to
all.
keep heightened in this world. So that's a really good discussion. I think we should do a show on AI. But
Yeah.
but I have
All
to
right, thank
say,
you. I just wanted to make sure to say I knew you would be very interested because I know that you're
yes. So
very
let's
your
go back to the
friends.
Schumann resonance because we're going to have Phoenix Green on. So if that's okay, can we do that?
Yes, I
Okay.
love this having that.
So there was a point. If you want to explain to our viewers how there was like what happened with the Schumann residence and how it kind of looked totally out of whack because it's like a graph. But explain to the viewers what had happened last a few days ago.
I just read that it blacked out. There was no reading. It's like it just disappeared. It's like almost like the timeline was gone or something.
Right.
And that's impossible because we were still on the earth unless we moved to another dimension, the entire planet, which could be possible. Some of us
Yeah.
are probably not going to be on the same timelines if
Right.
you
And I
can't
I
handle
think
the
that's true.
vibrations.
Yeah, I think that's true. I also think that the Schumann resonance and the way the Earth vibrates has a lot to do with light and light codes. You guys know that I work in light, and I believe that we are all light beings, and we walk
I
around this
think they said
body.
the Earth was getting downloaded away from the humans because we're on this planet with the poor Earth, and
Right.
we're putting all kinds of stuff to block the Earth. And we all think that we could send healing to the Earth when we're the ones causing the problem because
Sometimes,
of the
yes.
emotions that we project onto the Earth and hoarding to the Earth and dumping all our crap with the shadows on the Earth instead of looking at it and accepting that's our shadow to
Right. And
integrate,
there's always
not the
going to
Earth.
be darkness. There has to
Yeah,
be
there's nothing wrong
darkness.
with darkness, right? Right? I mean, darkness is part of us. We have to
Yes.
acknowledge it. It's from the
Yes.
past, and we need to let it go.
Yes. And
Not to
without
judge
darkness, we
it.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
light. We talked about that last week on the show. So the energy, I'm going to say, and I'm glad that you brought this up because we don't want to cast a blind eye toward it. But what I will say is stay in love. Please, please stay in love. Just,
Yeah.
when you feel yourself getting hot under the collar, breathe, everybody. Take a minute, okay? Because what I will tell you is the energies that are unfolding now are not worth getting angry about because there's a lot more yet to unfold. We're in the tip of the ellipsis, the dot, dot, dot. And the energy is going to grow a little bit more intense. And no one knows what the truth is. The
I
media
love
is
the
not
thing
showing
that
you the
Jesus
truth
said.
because your
We
truth has to
forgive
come.
them, for we know not what we do. That's
Right.
what. Now that I'm remembering that phrase, I say, "Oh my goodness, we got to have compassion for ourselves, especially because we really
Yeah,
don't
and that's
know."
why we do the show, and that's why we do the soul
I
space
love
and
you.
everything. So,
Yep.
did you have a specific question for me tonight?
No, not really. I just love, every once in a while I can come in. I don't sit ever for the whole show. I'm sorry. I just
That's
don't
okay.
have
You can
the.
always watch the replay. I'm going to send you
Yeah,
some
I can
love,
watch
and I
it, but
hope that you get a little more peaceful. Not let the muggles get you down.
that's why I don't watch very often. I try not to get pulled into the group energy. It's hard when
Yeah.
I'll do it separate. Like when you do the
Well,
replay, at least
I
I
I'm
could just
gonna
skip over
I'm
when
just gonna
somebody's.
say one thing, and this is for everybody, not just you. This is for everybody out
Yeah.
there. A lot of times, I hear people who are on the path to soul and going deeper into self study. A lot of times, I hear people will say, and thank you for calling in tonight, Pauline. Have a great night.
Thank
Um,
you.
so a lot of times people will say, well, I'm blocking energy or I'm protecting myself or whatever. And I kind of have a little bit of a different belief system with that. And, you believe whatever you want to believe, whatever feels right for you. I don't expect anyone to believe what I believe unless it feels right. The purpose of this show is to inspire you to find what's your alignment, certainly not to live in mine. Um, but people oftentimes will block an energy or they'll say they're doing protection. And I feel as soon as you do that, you're acknowledging the dark side. You're acknowledging that it could hurt you, or you're acknowledging that you are not more powerful than the energy. And it's my firm belief that if you are absolutely in light and working in light and your soul is pure and you are in love, that you don't, I won't say you don't need protection, but I don't think you need to block anything because your love vibration's already doing that. You're already manifesting the life that you want. So in that regard, I think stay out of the fear of things. Be cautious, of course, in a way that works for you, when you're doing things that you think are a little bit unsafe or that you think are leaving you open to other things. But at the same time, we really have to raise that vibration of love all over the world. And I know that sounds very trite and very, cliche also, but that's the answer. Obviously, we can't do anything about a lot of things going on. And that's what gives us anxiety, is that feeling of not being in control. But if you focus on the things you can control, then that kind of goes away. So try and focus on that. And for those of us who are really having a hard time, we're in grief, we're in loss, we've got to find the stars in that black sky. We've got to find those twinklings of light. And there's some people on now that I'm so happy are on here. I'm actually getting choked up a little bit. Elaine, I am sending you absolutely so much love and so much love, just wrapping you around in light right now. Trisha as well. And I know Sarah is having, a little bit of a hard time also. We all are right now, whether we're losing a perception, a belief system, or a loved one, or we're moving on with our life and that's being difficult. Whatever it is, we are all right now in a place of loss and grief, and that makes us fearful. And the reason is, like I just explained, that Aries energy coming out of the last part of Neptune, planets moving around in that 0 degree of Aries and the last degrees of Pisces, that's like, okay, guys, we have to jump off the cliff. Take the leap. It's very difficult energy to be in, but it's also an energy that we must be in because of the pivotal time this is. If we don't move forward, what's the alternative? None of us wants to stay here where we're in right now, this transitional, transformational time. It's hard. I mean, you can think about the butterfly, the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. There comes a point, I'm sure, where that cocoon is suffocating, but the caterpillar was always a butterfly. Its DNA is to be a butterfly. If it stays a caterpillar and stays in the cocoon, what happens? It denies its purpose. And that's what this energy is about. It's about not denying our purpose. We're all here for a reason. And as much as all the things around us seem so terribly important, they seem that way because we're attached to them. And we're attached to subconscious belief systems that have been created by a world that did not always have our best interest at heart. So now it's time for us to let go of those unconscious beliefs, let go of those unconscious attachments that don't have our best interest at heart, and step into ourselves, our soul space, where we have our best interest at heart, and we can move forward little baby steps every day just to get ourselves to a place where we need to be. And sometimes, depending on what circumstances you're in, that could be anything. It could be the slightest little thing. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. When I was in one of my worst places, I remember one of my mentors saying to me, just get up every day and put one foot in front of the other. Just every day, one foot in front of the other. And that's what I did. And I remember when I was in one of the worst times of my life, my dog Sparky, who's no longer here, I remember just feeling his fur brush against my leg. And this little glimmer of light came in, and it was very, very dark. And like I grabbed onto it. And that's what led me out, little at a time, you know. Spring is coming, flowers, blue sky, eat an ice cream cone. Just feel joy wherever you can. Get a massage if you need touch, mani-pedi. All of these are tangible things in the earth world, but they feed our soul. And then for that little moment of respite, I remember when I was in treatment for cancer, and just like if I could nibble a cracker, I would be so grateful for that cracker, and I would just be in that moment. Because nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. But if we're in a moment, we can grab hold of it and put it in our imagination, in our soul space, in our felt nervous system, right? Where we feel everything. We can remember that moment, and that creates it forever. But everything on this plane is not permanent. You are not permanent. I am not permanent. I will not be here one day. And there'll be all this video about the soul space. People will be like, who is her? Where'd she go? What was that girl doing? Right? This is a way for me to leave legacy, right? So whatever is happening in your life, you will get through it. Whatever is going on in my life right now, I'm going to get through it. We'll all be fine. But these are very intense times. And they're here so that we go forward. We got to jump off the cliff. There's a silver chariot that's going to catch you, but we got to get off the cliff. Because being on this cliff is getting old, people. It's really getting old. So I'm just going to read some comments. Oh, Elaine, always. You call me anytime. I feel badly that I didn't call you. Life just gets so hectic sometimes. I know that's a poor excuse. Michelle is saying, me too, Elaine. I'm in a way, precious situation. Yeah, what do I do now? Everybody's asking that because whether, like I said, whether it's a person or a career or a job or just a belief system, like something's leaving us all, you know? And it's these subconscious belief systems we have. Like when we lose somebody, the back of our mind tells us, you can't be alone, you know? You're such and such an age, you can't start over. Or, oh, what am I going to do without this person? And well, it's part of it is true. It's just a relearning, you know. We go to leave a job and we tell ourselves, oh my God, I shouldn't have left that job. That was my security. Even though it was killing me, I needed to go there every day. You know, all these unconscious belief systems that just are not real. None of it's real, you know. Think about the things in the last 5 years that we were told and what we were thinking of, and none of it was really real. Just none of it was really real. So we've still got the phone number on the screen if anybody else wants to call in. So those are the dates for the retrogrades. Now I want to give you a couple of dates for this week to energy. March 20th, the sun goes into Aries. It's the first day of spring. That's the beginning of Aries energy for real for us. So you're going to feel that jolt of energy on that day. Try to do some kind of a solstice ritual. An equinox ritual for spring. That can be just, you know, saying affirmations like I just put on the screen. I'll put them on all the social. You want to really be in flow and be open to new energy coming in. And open to new energy doesn't mean that all of a sudden your life's going to take a different action. It means becoming aware of the energy, becoming aware of the thoughts that come into your head. You know, journal, write them down, even do a note on your phone. What am I outgrowing? What doesn't feel right for me anymore? Because Venus is retrograde, that could even be a certain look. Like I chopped 5 inches off my hair. We don't always recommend cosmetic things during Venus retrograde, but do what you feel, babies. It could also be, you want to buy a new car, something material. But if you feel that way, try to get underneath that desire. Why do I really want this? Because it's not about the material things. March 21st, Venus is going to be in sextile to Pluto. This is an energy that's going to bring out a lot of deep feeling for us. It could be a very emotional time. It's coming on the heels of planets moving. So it could be things that come to you deeply from memory, almost like getting stuck in a memory field, but you're going to want to go deeper. This can also be deep power plays. So whatever you are trying to transition or transform from now, something may come in that kind of tries to bring you back or is a power play in that energy. That's the 22nd and 23rd. We're also going to feel, because Mercury is retrograde, and that's why this Mercury retrograde is so different, because we have other planets retrograde. It's all this pileup of planets still in the Aries, Pisces area of your chart. What's going to happen is it can make us feel very stuck, like the structure is status quo, and we want to move forward so much because you remember that Aries energy is about taking up space and being impulsive. We want to be in the space we want to be in, but it's not quite ready to pull the trigger yet. So the structures just are not working. We're trying to put it in place, but it's just not always working. And Mercury comes out of retrograde around April 7th, and that maybe will give us the push we need. So this is really about this particular time, especially these next couple of weeks, are about staying in the energy that is dissolving, to see where your awareness lies to move forward, to see what this energy really wants from you, what you've outgrown. Like, it's to stay into the awareness. It's the disordering that we need to see and be in order to let go. I always call it the point of intolerance. We need to see the decay. And once we do that, we're able to say, yep, that's not working anymore. The mayonnaise is spoiled. Let me throw it in the garbage. I don't know why I was keeping that jar to begin with. And then March 24th, the reason why this energy, this Mercury retrograde is also different is because we've got an energy where the sun, which has been with Saturn and kind of burnt out Saturn, which is all that conditioning, all that, unconscious belief systems. The sun's been burning that out for us, setting fire to it and burning it for good. We're beginning to believe in a different way. Now we see that with Mercury and Venus. And the sun is burning up the archetypes of those planets, basically burning up what we thought were our values, burning up what we thought were belief systems that we had to adhere to, that we realize that we've outgrown. And also those mercurial things, our mindset, where in our mind do we still hold these belief systems? Like, for me, I'm dual careered. I am a real estate broker. I have been for 30 years, 180 miles an hour on the go, working all the time. And I also do this. I'm very spiritual. I do Reiki circles and I do astrology and all these things. And my unconscious belief system is every time the going gets a little rough or I'm feeling a little anxious or vulnerable in this space, I want to trash it and go back to my earthbound life where everything's business and competition and logical and numbers. And I know that's the underlying belief system. That's the subconscious attachment that I have, that's going to keep me safe. Well, that's not going to keep me safe. It's going to put me in anxiety, and it's not going to keep me safe because it's not authentic to me. Although I'm very good at it and I love certain aspects of doing it, my authenticity now at this time in my life is being here with you and doing the work that makes my soul be in flow and makes me feel like 3 hours is 5 minutes and I could be in it forever. I'm just flying with angels. So what are the unconscious belief systems that you're holding on to? What is the BS that you're telling yourself and not allowing yourself to move forward? Because it's there and it's coming into your awareness in this energy. And that's going to especially be heightened around March 25th and 26th. Because then Mercury is also sextile Pluto, where Venus was just before on the 21st. And then on the 26th, we've got that Mars square to Chiron coming in again. We've been having that come back and forth because Mars was retrograde, kept going over that spot. Mars in Cancer at 21 degrees, squares Chiron at 21 of Aries. What does that mean? On March 26th and 27th, this is seeing the reasons why we can't accomplish what we want. Just what I said. the awareness of the subconscious, of the things we're attached to, the things we believe that are bullshit, basically, about ourselves, about our loved ones, about the way it's supposed to be. All that starts to like just kind of explode for us. And we see and we get the awareness and we're like, yeah, that really doesn't make sense. That's not true, you know? So in this energy, keep asking yourself, is this true? I don't know. I don't think this is true, but maybe it's true. And then on Thursday, the 27th, that's the date when Venus actually goes back into Pisces. And we start to get all those value systems. So you see how this energy is so heightened to kind of like, almost like our briny, watery depths have a bubble system that's just bubbling it all up so that we can clear it all, let it all out. And then the sun comes in. It's like there was an old movie with Meryl Streep where she, Heartburn. It was called Heartburn. And that's so cool because Mars is in Cancer, all about the heart. And it was called Heartburn. And during the movie, it was all about her husband. Her marriage didn't work. Her husband cheated on her a couple of times. And then finally she kept going back. And then she finally left the marriage. And in the movie, she has a little baby. And she always does the song, The Itsy Bitsy Spider, in the movie. And it's like the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. And then down came the rain and washed the spider out. That's this energy. It's like we go into the underworld. We go in to see all the things we didn't see before. And it's scary and it's anxious and it's frightening. And we're running through the forest and everything's dark and scary. But then all of a sudden we come out the other side and we're like, wow, I'm so glad I had that experience because now I know where my monsters have been all this time. And I'm not afraid of them anymore. So it's some pretty cool stuff. And then, of course, Pluto, Scorpion energies in there. You know, got 5 planets in Scorpio. Scorpio moon is Scorpio. So I'm doing great in this energy. Don't even want to tell you. And then on the 29th, we have the other eclipse. So we'll talk more about that. And that's when all the Aries energy really starts to come in at 9 degrees Aries. So yeah, this has been quite the time and it will continue. And that's 2025. It's going to keep going back and forth with that energy because the universe, God, Kuan Yin, Buddha, aliens, whatever it is you believe in, guys, wants us to step into our soul space. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. So I'm going to pull some cards. And I think we have a couple of new people on. Even with my glasses, I'm having a hard time reading the screen tonight. David Campari, welcome. I think this is the first time you've been on. Welcome, welcome to the show. Yeah, crazy people are out, definitely. We just send them love. Send them love. Crazy people, it's cool. We don't need to get crazy with them because there will be a lot of crazy. You'll see in this energy now, especially once we start to really go into Aries, you're going to see a lot of people wanting to, what I call, throw their wounds on the sidewalk. You know, people have these complexes they run so that they don't have to look at themselves, right? And I say that with love because we all were that at one point. Still have complexes I run that I don't see. That's why I work with a lot of mentors. But anyway, no, none of us are perfect. But people are going to really like start to speak their words. You know, Mercury's retrograde. It's in Aries right now. It's headed back to Pisces. People want to pour their emotions out in words and communicate. And that's a no-no, guys. Definitely check it before you wreck it because, showing my age now, because, you know, before you hit send, double check. Before you send the text, double check. Before you bawl somebody out, have a fight on the supermarket line, double check it because it's going to come back to bite you. And you're going to see a lot of that in the press. You're going to see a lot of it in the governments across the world. You know, power plays are going to definitely be in play. You've got water and fire, right? Pour a little oil on that. You got a blaze. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to pull a couple of cards for Elaine. I hope you're still watching. Everyone send Elaine love. She just lost her partner. And Elaine is a Pisces. So I have to tell you, I've been getting a lot of readings, requests for readings. You can do that on zenkuda.com. And everyone that requests a reading lately is a Pisces. So I feel bad for my Pisces friends. Okay, so Elaine, these cards are for you. Are you back there, Comrade? We're going to do cards. So Elaine, I have the Knight of Swords. So I think this is basically the experience that you've just had where maybe you weren't fully prepared. It's still a little shocking. This is our Knight of Swords. And there we go. Bobby just gave me the signal to move my stuff. And it was a little shocking. But the thing that I like about this card is that the Knight of Swords is actually, you know, I'm going to be placing more cards here. And Elaine knows she's a reader. The Knight of Swords is moving away from the next cards that I'm pulling. So this shows me that this emergency 911 kind of situation is in the past. Ace of Wands. Oh, sweetie, all new beginning. You know that. I'm looking, what catches my eyes, all the whitish light behind this card too. You're going to get communication. If you're not getting it now from your loved one, from your hubby, from Peter, you will get it. It's still new. But you have someone who is actually going to be a conduit for you in the spirit world. I really believe that. I can feel the love that's there. I'm getting a lot of white light, though. Wow. It's going to take a minute here. Oof. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of white light. White light. And I don't usually work in the white. You know, I'm violet. But just so much white light pouring out. I feel like you have so many people around you sending you that. And it's just like, almost like the earth is actually pouring forth with white light for you, Elaine. Can we do comments on the screen also, Carmen? Thank you. And now I have all this golden light coming in this card, the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, so the page comes in just as I'm talking about you having a conduit and communication from the other world. This confirms it for me, Elaine, that there will be a lot of signs. You're going to be very open to that. I know that this is a very difficult time. I'm going into your energy and I can feel what you're going through. I feel the grief. I feel the restlessness. I know you are inconsolable, but I want you to know and have faith and believe that you do have the ability to be consoled by Spirit, by God. Jesus is surrounding you and a lot of angels. Purple light's coming in for me now. I don't know if you ever work with the Archangel Metatron. He's coming in. He's very, very powerful. He, walks for us when we can't walk ahead, and he's coming in to you. I have an Ace of Swords. This is such a new beginning for you, and I know it sounds horrible to say that, but this is such a new beginning for you. A year from now, you're going to be in a much different mindset. While you'll always miss your loved one, I feel like there is no restraint, like with your spiritual gifts, really an opening. Look at the card that comes out. Just as I say that, you got the Star card. Wow. We have to do a reading for you, private. Yeah, this is all about opening the spiritual gifts for you. I cannot stress that enough. I don't have words to actually explain the energy that I'm feeling around you, Elaine. There are no words of earth to say to you because this is not earthly energy. Yeah, I can tell. I know. I'm reading your comments. Yeah, look at this spread. I mean, and you can even play it back. You know what the cards mean. I know you know, and I can feel you linking with me right now. To pull two aces, and just the way they were described, you can go back and look at the reading, but this is the emergency. This is like it's moving away. And then we've got this ace, new growth. Look at all of this beautiful leaves coming to fruition, new growth starting. It's the Ace of Wands, which means action. And then next card that I pulled was this beautiful card, the Page of Pentacles. And I pulled that card when I was talking about your Peter being a communication, a conduit for you. And then the communication for pages comes in. And then I get the Ace of Swords, which is all about this beautiful energy of, I think I pulled the Ace of Swords first and the other ace after, which is all about this beautiful energy of things being in balance when you least expect it and the energy coming in. And then the Star card comes in when I'm talking about how I'm feeling this white light and this energy around you. You are so loved. You are so loved in this world and beyond, Elaine. So take that with you. I feel like at night when you sleep, I don't know if there's something that you're holding, but I feel like you're putting energy in that. Whatever that is, if it comforts you, that's really good. But please be very choosy about what you bring in the room with you when you do sleep. Don't bring anything in from like the service that would be something that is more symbolic of death, because light is so prevalent around you. So yeah, go into that light. It's going to help you so much. And whatever you're sleeping, if there's things in the room, but I feel like you're holding something at night, which is very comforting and very good for you. I don't know if you're wearing something of Peter's or if you have jewelry. I don't know, but it's like you're holding something. I can feel it. I'm actually have my arms crossed on my chest right now. But if there's anything in the room that you like took from the service that is more symbolic of his passing, of his death, don't have that in the room when you sleep, because you really want to go in the light and go into, he's in paradise now. And you know that he is, everyone has a Metatron. Denise, I just read your comment. But you know that Peter is in paradise right now. And I always say, when people love us here on this earth, the love that's in paradise is 100 times more deep and more powerful. So can you only imagine what he is sending you now? And you can feel that. You can feel that when you're open, and especially in dream time. So please take the light with you, Elaine. And I just love you so much, and I'm sending you so much peace and love. And we're all here rooting for you, and you're going to come out the other side of this. So Deneen says she needs a Metatron. So Metatron is an angel. For those of you who are very deeply into spiritual study, Enoch was a spiritual guide for many. And Metatron is Enoch as an angel. And so Metatron is a very big... yeah, I love you, Elaine. You're welcome. You don't even ever have to thank me. You've been a gift in my life. When Metatron comes in, you'll know, because if you feel angelic energy, Metatron is like a huge force. It's not like angelic energy is usually very light and sparkly. And when you hear angels, it's like very high pitched and it's like, ee! But when Metatron comes in, it's like, woo. And you're like, what the hell was that? And it's Metatron. So that's Metatron's energy. I always think of him like Gargantua in the old monster movies, in a good way, because he's a good spirit. But David says, I have so many pictures of my son and my mother, a brother in my room. And that's great if that inspires you and makes you feel good. It's just sometimes, for instance, sometimes people will have prayer cards. I grew up in an Italian household, and we used to always have the prayer cards stuck in the bureau mirror, and then I realized those are symbolic of the death. They're not symbolic of the life. Although we use those to pray when we're in church or something, they really don't belong in a room where we're sleeping and going to be going into dream time in the ethereal planes and the soul space. So you always want to have things of the light surrounding you whenever you're in meditation or going into another realm, whether it's through sleep or whatever. So that's just about our show for today. I'm just going to pick one card to confirm the theme of the show. If anybody else has a question, they can put it in their in the soul space. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Janine. I know a lot of people have lost, and every time I do go scroll through any of the social media, so many people are passing. And that's because it's almost like the end of a cycle. Not almost, it is the end of cycles, which we have every year, but 2025 is the end of many, many cycles at once. And it will continue that way for the next couple of months. So a lot of people and a lot of animals also, I noticed people who've had animals for a long time, those are also passing. And Michelle says she cannot, she's not seeing the comments. So if you see, some of the comments are on Facebook and some of the comments are on YouTube. So they're all not joined. So sometimes what some people do is just do a split screen. Most of these comments now are all from Facebook. So if you're on YouTube, you may not see the comments. If you want to comment, you can always go on the Facebook stream on Strong Island Television and you'll see that. So to pick my last card of the night, all right, this one. The Chariot. Oh my God, guys, the Chariot card in the tarot means move it forward. It means the car's idling at the curb and now we're putting it in drive and we're flying. Like get the full speed ahead thing in your head, because come April we're going to be doing that. So if you're in indecision, this is also a card of black and white, dark and light, so that the eclipses, we have another one coming in on the 29th. So it's light and dark, like I read my blog on last week's show. If you want to go back to that one, it was all about how in the dark, the sun sets and this beautiful black sky comes up and we miss the sun. But if it weren't for the black sky, we wouldn't see all the stars coming out. Right. So there's always darkest before the dawn. Yeah, Liz and I love the Chariot card. I have to have Liz on the show one night. We'll do it remotely. I would love that. We'll talk, just have chit chat. You guys would love it. We have great energy together. So I love you all, and stay tuned because I am doing a little more lives and a little more video on my social media. If you're not subscribed on those, it's Zenkuda Soul Space. Georgia Rose is another Facebook site that I publish on. Zenkuda Official is the Instagram site, and of course my YouTube site where you'll find over 100 videos, astrology, shorts, everything. Zenkuda.com. I love you all. This is the energy that I am sourcing my life from. So have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Tired?